How come is it that when I search how to get out of team building events on YouTube, all I get is stuff like this: top team building activities and best team building exercises? Isn't there anyone out there who hates team building activities? Well, I am sure there are. People have been writing about how much they hate and dread team outings in blogs forever. I would say YouTube desperately needs a video which provides a different voice and a different perspective on how employees view team building activities. Now, if you are part of the vocal majority who love team building games and who can't wait for your company's next team outing, then good for you, have fun. This video is obviously not meant for you. However, if you are someone who works for a large company that periodically hosts useless, irrelevant, ineffective, time-consuming, not even work-related, and sometimes simply cringe-worthy team-building events, and you want to, but don't quite know how to get out of them, well then this video is for you. I present you with 10 strategies to get out of your firm's ghastly team-building events without upsetting the management too much. But before I list them out, let me clarify. Not all team-building interventions are bad. I understand that. I am also not saying that teamwork or team effectiveness is bad. What I am saying is that there are certainly horrible team-building games and team-building events which contribute nothing positive, and we should get out of those. These strategies are useful for your firm's stupid socialization games which are called team-building, but in fact aren't team-building by definition. Please check out my other videos on team building definition and team building effectiveness. I will link them above and below. Alright, so let's see what are these strategies which can get us out of team building events or help us survive them a little bit better. Strategy number 1. Be proactive. Plan ahead. If your company is one of those which tell employees way in advance when the next team building event is going to be so that they can make sure that employees would avail themselves on that day, well, you could use that information to your advantage. Secretly plan something that has to happen on that day. If possible, make that something a little bit work-related. Or make it a little bit medically related. Perhaps it is a doctor's appointment. Or maybe an appointment with a medical specialist that has to take place on that day. Say that this appointment is something you've been trying to get for quite some time. Say that this appointment is important for you, or your children, or your partner. Nevertheless, the idea is that you want to secretly plan in advance a legitimate reason ahead of time so that you can convincingly skip your firm's team-building event. Strategy number 2. Go to one, skip one, or something to that effect. For instance, you can go to 1, skip 1, go to 1, skip 2, go to 2, skip 1, whatever ratio or interval fits you and your situation the best. The idea is simply you want to join some of the team building events or team outings so that others see that you are there sometimes. Obviously, this strategy would work even better if you can choose to join those team building events or team outings which you can tolerate the best. Many companies tell employees in advance what kind of team building activities would be performed in their next team outing. If your company does that, use that information to consider if this is going to be an event that you want to go to, or if this is one you would really want to skip. There are also many companies these days which don't tell their employees in advance what sort of activities or games would be performed or played. They keep this as a secret and only reveal the program at the very last moment. Well, even in that case, you could still see if you could somehow find out what their secret plan is so that you can better decide for yourself if this is going to be a team outing that you want to go to or skip. Strategy number 3. Attend a portion of the team building event or team outing. This one is a bit similar to the previous strategy. The idea, once again, is that you want to choose to attend team building events selectively and strategically. If you go to a team outing or a team building event, you don't have to stay there the whole time. You could just go there in order to make an appearance and just stay for a little bit. You might choose to join the first part of the team day and then just quietly slip out. Or you might choose not to attend the team building event until the last part of the program, usually some sort of social drink type thing. Look, we know that most team building events and team outings and team building exercises do not work at all in terms of improving productivity and work performance. So probably your manager's only intention for organizing a team building event is just to get employees to socialize a little bit. Well, if that is indeed their intention, you might as well just show up for the socialization part, have a drink, socialize, and be done with it. Strategy number 4. Cite safety and health concerns. This again is a little similar to strategy number 1, but in this case, citing safety, health, or medical concerns can be a genuinely legitimate reason rather than just an excuse. If you know in advance that the content of a team building event is a muddy obstacle course that involves a lot of jumping around, well, notify your manager that you are unable to participate because of your previous knee injuries. If the team outing involves rafting or canoeing, say that you can't swim. If the team outing is about drumming together, well, say you have an inner ear condition. You can always consider going the health and safety route when trying to skip your firm's next team outing. Strategy number 5. Form a little coalition to get out of the team outing. Don't try getting out of team building events all on your own. Involve a couple of similarly minded employees. We know from blogs and articles and research that many employees dread those useless, ghastly team building events and team outings. Well, join forces with them. Maybe you and 2 other colleagues have to go to a conference on the same day as the team building day of the firm. What an unfortunate coincidence. Or maybe the 3 of you are working on a work-related project that has an unfortunate deadline which overlaps with the team outing. Because when it is not just you, but multiple colleagues who are excusing themselves from the team building event due to a work-related reason, that argument will carry much more weight. And even if somehow the plan backfires, because it is a group-based act, there is always that very welcome ambiguity of responsibility. Chances are no single one person will be held solely responsible. Strategy number 6. Form a little coalition at the team building event. If you can't get out of going to a team outing and somehow you have to be there, well, you might always consider forming a little coalition at the team building event. I know how sometimes these team building facilitators make employees do stupid things or play silly games during the team outing. Now, if you can stick with those colleagues who you like and trust, then these stupid games might be much more tolerable. So, form a little coalition to buffer the uselessness and ridiculousness of those team building games. Of course, sometimes the team building facilitators intentionally create their own group division to avoid familiar people sticking together, and that means you cannot take advantage of any previously formed coalitions. If that is the case, then that particular team outing should probably be the one you skip. Speaking of coalitions, I got one little extra tip here. Don't carpool with colleagues to team building events, because if you drive somebody there, you need to drive them back, which means you cannot leave halfway through the program. So go on your own. Go with your own transportation. Don't drive anyone else, and don't let anyone else drive you. And certainly don't take the bus which your company offers. You do not want to depend on others. You want to have autonomy. This way, you can leave anytime you want. And speaking of autonomy, or losing it rather, what can also happen sometimes is that the team building facilitator would actually collect everybody's phones and cameras before the team building activity starts. This is a pretty clear sign that they are planning something that they do not want to have recorded in any way. Sure, there might be legitimate reasons for that. Maybe they're going to use some copyrighted materials and they're concerned about intellectual property. But what is more likely is that they know that the team building games or team building activities that they are planning is going to cross some kind of line. Ethical lines, moral lines, common decency. Anyway, the point here is don't consent to anything you really do not wish to do, even if you are already at the team building site. This could, of course, be risky because declining to do something at the team building event might make you seem like a troublemaker, an anti-team employee, which is why it is probably better not to go in the first place if you know in advance that this is the type of things that they have planned. Strategy number 7. Block off your emotions and just act. If you had to go to a team outing that you know you're gonna hate, well, you could consider just shutting down your emotions and just getting it over with. Clearly, this is easier said than done. When you are forced to play those silly games, it is easy to lose your temper and get angry at the pure stupidity and absolute meaninglessness of the situation. Well, just act. Act emotionless. Now I realize that this is some serious emotional labor, and surface acting as a coping strategy can be very tiring. but it is a strategy nonetheless for you to consider. Strategy number 8. Take control by helping organize the team day. This is another strategy which won't get you out of the team outing, but might help you to make the team building event a little bit more tolerable for yourself. So this means if you cannot skip the team day, you might consider helping out by organizing the event. In this way, you stand a chance, at least, to influence what kind of activities would be performed during the next team building event, and in doing so, you could steer the event away from the types of activities and games that you dislike in order for the event to include activities and games that you can tolerate. Now, of course, the activities that you find likable might be very much hated by others. But well, if you are working for a company whose managers believe that playing silly games actually build team effectiveness, I guess we can say that your strategic decision in manipulating what these games will be is justified. Strategy number 9. Take advantage of the team building event for personal or career gains. If you're unable to get out of going to the team building event or the team outing, see if you could turn this miserable thing into something that is personally useful. Perhaps use it as a networking opportunity, mingle a little bit with those higher-ups. Use this as a chance to try to get your points across to other colleagues regarding some work project that you've been working on. Take this as an opportunity to chat with your manager about that promotion that you've been gunning for, etc., etc. So turn this thing into something that could be of some use to you. Who knows, maybe this will lead to something positive. Maybe it won't, but at least it is a coping strategy to help deal with the ghastly team building events or team outings. Strategy number 10. Talk honestly with your manager. Of course, this depends on what kind of a person your manager is. You could consider talking and explaining to your manager why you view your firm's team building events to be of little value to you and your work. You could describe some of your experiences with the firm's previous team-building games and highlight why those activities were not effective in helping employees to work better. You may also point out the many studies published in peer-reviewed scientific journals that empirically show most team-building activities have no effects on improving productivity and work performance. So hopefully, your manager would understand that you might very well have a point. Moreover, they might even appreciate your honesty and informing them about how you and others in the company feel about team-building activities. Furthermore, they might recognize that one's willingness and their level of enthusiasm regarding team outings have nothing to do with their work performance. Obviously, in a perfect world, this strategy should be strategy number 1. But we're not living in a perfect world. We're working for some manager in some company somewhere. Alright, so these are the 10 strategies that I wish to include in this video. Do you perhaps have smarter strategies to get out of or survive your company's team outings and team days? Please share them down below in the comment section. I am planning to make a follow-up video on this topic with more strategies, so please enlighten me with your bright ideas on how to get out of or survive useless team-building games and team outings. Now, on the other hand, it is possible that you might strongly disagree with me and these strategies, which is very understandable. In fact, before I record every video, I go through the video script with some friends and I ask them to be very critical. So in the case of this video, they have told me that they worry I might be advocating that you should lie, which could be perceived by some as unethical. Well, let me address that. I am not saying that you must lie or that you should lie to your manager. I am saying, based on what people write on various discussion forums and based on personal experiences, I know sometimes team outings and team building games can be not only unproductive, but actually counterproductive. If my goal is to be committed and engaged with my work, but the silly, irrelevant, ghastly, embarrassing, cringeworthy team-building games are actually impeding my ability to do so, then I would need some strategies to deal with it. I would need some mechanisms to help me cope with all that. And that's where these potential strategies might come in handy. I am not advocating that you should lie to your management. I am advocating for your ability to stay committed to and engaged in your work. The bottom line, don't let your firm's ghastly team building events be the source of any stress for you. Please leave your thoughts and comments down below. Please also check out my other videos dealing with the topic of team building interventions. And as always, thanks for watching this Ranywayz random video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.